Hey everyone, it's Albie. Welcome back to my channel. I have a fun sort of collective video for you today, and that is on a specific trope. And that trope I'm going to call heroine in disguise. So a heroine that has disguised herself either as a boy or as a different sort of class in order to live out her life or escape danger. So I have some really fun and exciting picks for you. All 5 of these are historical romances. I'm sure there are some more contemporary ones I could get to, but these just stood out on my shelf to me. I will say I just absolutely love this trope of a woman having to disguise herself either as a man or, boy, or as a person of a different class, whether that be the Cinderella trope where she's dressed as a lady instead of rags, or she's a lady or princess and having to dress as a commoner to sort of escape danger or whatnot. So this is, I think, a well-known trope. It's done a lot in movies. Like I thought of the movie Shakespeare in Love with Joseph Fiennes, I believe, and Gwyneth Paltrow, and she, disguises herself as a boy so she can act. And there's also a film with Billy Crudup and Claire Danes called Stage Beauty, and that's a really interesting movie, especially if you like Shakespeare or you like the history of acting, especially women acting. And that is it's not a true story, but it's about a woman that disguises herself as a man disguised or dressed as a boy to perform acting, because it was illegal at the time for a woman to be on stage acting. So that's a really cool movie. So women might disguise themselves for many different circumstances. Like I said, this trope can be really common in sort of the My Fair Lady aesthetic as well. So if we think of My Fair Lady, which is based on the play by George Bernard Shaw called Pygmalion, which is based on the mythology story of Pygmalion, and he makes the muse and she comes to life. Basically, if you've heard of or need to watch Mannequin with, oh gosh, I can't think of his name, but I know Kim Cattrall is a mannequin that comes to life. But just love that story. And of course, My Fair Lady, we have Eliza Doolittle, who's the sort of wilting flower girl that's with the Cockney accent and just rough around the edges. And Henry Higgins decides to turn her into a lady so she could possibly be a duchess, etc., etc. So I just really do enjoy this trope. To me, it's not necessarily the Cinderella trope, although it could be, but I just love the women that are just being a spy or something like that. So I'll start off with one of my favorites. This is by Lenore Bell. This is rare that the spine is broken, but it was just such a good book. This is For the Duke's Eyes Only. So Lady India Rochester is an intrepid archaeologist and is basically a spy. So she dresses as a man to get into these men only clubs and meetings to find out about stolen archaeological finds. And then of course she has to meet her ex best friend / sort of childhood love, Daniel, the Duke of Ravenwood, and they start rekindling that passion, although there's lots of enemies to lovers in this story as well. Absolutely loved this story. This is in a series called The School of Dukes. I don't know what number this is, but you don't need to read it in order, at least not this one, to enjoy it. But this is a 6-star read. It is super, super good. I love this one. This is by Lenore Bell, For the Duke's Eyes Only. Wonderful. Love the heroine in disguise. It has some super funny sections where her mustache keeps falling and like someone notices like the mustache is up here, then down here, over here. It was sort of funny. All right, another story we have with the woman in disguise, or heroine in disguise, is The Perks of Loving a Wallflower. So in this, our heroine, or this is a sapphic historical romance, so we have 2 heroines. I guess our main heroine is Thomasina / Tommy Winchester, and she is a master of disguise. So she loves to like play tricks on people / get away with information. She's sort of like a spy as well, not really, but she does go into disguise very easily. So she's disguised herself as a woman and the sort of caretaker for her sister, seeing as her adoptive father passed away, she has to be this fake guardian to her and her siblings so that the money stays with them and all this other sort of baloney they had to put up with because of the time. And Thomasina at one point disguises herself as a young man, and Philippa is sort of on the market, and Philippa begins to fall in love with this young count. And when she finds out that the count is actually a woman, it's Tommy, the passion doesn't change. So if you're looking for a really lovely sapphic historical romance with lots of passion and just super romantic ooey gooey moments, I would pick up The Perks of Loving a Wallflower by Erica Ridley. Absolutely love this. Our heroine in disguise definitely gets their prize. Oh, that rhymed. All right, and then this one is Say No to the Duke by Eloisa James. This is part of the Wilds of Winchester? No. Yeah, Wilds of Winchester Castle? Oh, the Wilds of Lindlow Castles. Excuse me. In this story, our heroine, Betsy, is starting out her first season, and she does not like the idea of being this lady becoming a man's property. She wants to escape and run away and join a traveling theater group. And so she has a friend who is definitely not a gentleman and asks him for men's clothes so that she can sort of escape her life and disguise herself as a young boy / young man and join this acting troupe and get away from her womanly duties, so to speak. And they decide, you know, we'll do this billiard game. If you win, I'll give you the breeches and you can, you know, escape. But if I win the billiard game, and that is Lord Jeremy Roden is the hero, he says, well, you have to have a night with me. So, you know, high stakes game, all I'm saying. And, you know, things happen. Don't want to give too much away. And he realizes that he can't let her escape, you know, her life because he is in love with her. And he wants her to say no to a duke. He wants to marry her instead. So absolutely love this story. This is book 4 in the series by Eloisa James. Absolutely loved it. I have another Eloisa James book. I just reviewed it and read it this week, I guess. And this is How to Be a Wallflower. And in this book, it's sort of similar to Betsy's story, where our heroine, Cleopatra Lewis, aka Cleo, does not really want to enter into society and be this sort of prize for men to achieve or get. So she wants to disguise herself as a wildflower. She's a very ravishing beauty, and she doesn't want to be objectified or seen that way for reasons. And so she goes to an acting company, to a seamstress there that does the costumes, and she asks her if she could make her a wardrobe of dowdy wildflower-ish clothing to like scare off men and not be chosen as someone's bride. So absolutely loved Cleo. She is just such a fun heroine. She's very spicy in the sense that she's, you know, she has a temper. She's not afraid to show her opinion, and I absolutely love that part of her. And our hero is, I always want to say John. It's Jacob Astor Addison. And Jacob sort of has a Cinderella moment in reverse. So he meets and sees Cleo for the first time. They do not hit it off. Definitely enemies to lovers. Lots of just banter with bickering, which I loved in this story. And he is sort of this wild, unbridled American man. And, you know, our heroine, Cleo, is very demure, British, and ladylike, although she doesn't want to be someone's duchess or whatever. So he decides he slowly falls in love with her and slowly wants to woo her. So he does a sort of Cinderella / makeover moment in the story and has the seamstress sort of polish him up and give him new clothes that fit into society, and just love the story. Love that our heroine was using clothes as her disguise to sort of change the trajectory of what was going to happen to her, which was the wedding to someone she wouldn't necessarily like. So I liked that in this story. she sort of becomes a part of her own destiny and uses clothes to change how she's viewed. I thought that was really interesting. All right, and in this story, we have The Princess Stakes by Amelie Howard. And so our heroine is indeed a princess. She is Princess Sarani Rao. And at the beginning of the story, she has to disguise herself as sort of a plain commoner, handmaid sort of woman to escape India. So her family is being attacked and essentially murdered by others to take over the kingdom. So she has to escape in the middle of the night to get out of her palace onto a ship that will lead her to England to escape essentially her death. So if you're looking for a really actiony slash like an action thriller historical romance, wonderful. This does have some scenes that take place at sea, so if you're looking for a sea romance, another great one. This is Childhood Friends to Lovers and Enemies to Lovers. So our captain and hero of the story is Riston, and they were like teenagers slash childhood lovers, almost engaged essentially, but some things happened that were sort of unbeknownst to either of them, and that was called off. And they find out when she boards the ship that, wait, this is not who this woman says she is. This is Princess Sarani, and I've loved her, but no, I don't really like her. So lots of enemies to lovers with that fun tension, but absolutely love The Princess Stakes. This is one of my favorite books of 2021. Highly recommend. So I love that our heroine in this story actually had to disguise herself from her riches to rags, essentially, to escape murder. I mean, high stakes there. So literally The Princess Stakes. So love this story as well. I hope that this trope was interesting for y'all. I thought it was a fun one. I just really love the heroine in disguise trope. And so here's all my recs for this trope. Hopefully there's one that y'all would be interested in. I have read and reviewed most of these books. The only two I haven't reviewed for my channel are this one and this one, but they are reviewed on my Goodreads. All right, everyone, I hope you have a wonderful day. Don't forget to like, subscribe, as well as comment. You can follow me on TikTok and Instagram at I'll Be Reading Romance, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye, everyone.